I'm gonna need this new power steering so that I can actually, well, you'll find out at the end of the video. All right, here's the deal. I'm gonna get in the truck so you guys can actually hear me because it's extremely windy out today. Go figure. There we go, nice and quiet, just the two of us. So it's been about a month and a half since we basically transformed the 7.3 Powerstroke into the most beautiful, most gorgeous F350 7.3 Powerstroke that the world has ever seen. That is fact, not an opinion. And everything with the truck has been going great. Knock on wood, I don't have any wood. I should have wood trim in here like I wanted. Everything's been going great besides one thing. But that isn't caused by any of the recent work that I did. It's not because I put on different tires or whatever, different shocks, blah, blah, blah. No, this is a problem that I've had with this truck since I bought it. And I will show you guys in the driveway. So here's the thing. Driving around like this, you know, you're moving, everything's fine, everything's dandy. But the minute you stop, no power steering at all. Nothing. I mean, barely anything, especially the left. And that is a serious problem when you're towing a trailer and trying to back it up. You look like an idiot. And we need to fix this because I got something else that's new for the truck, and it's actually brand new. It's the first brand new thing I've ever bought. And it's pretty cool. It's interesting. And it's for the truck, and I'm gonna need this new power steering so that I can actually, well, you'll find out at the end of the video. So to fix this, we're gonna throw a new power steering pump in it. Now I know these things don't have the best power steering from the factory. They're still kind of hard to turn. Anything has got to be better than what's going on with it now. So let's dig in, start pulling stuff apart, and hopefully I don't mess this up. All right, so we got a new pump right here, and I went with a brand new one and not a remanufactured one. Get back here. Because the reman ones did not have great reviews for the trucks. What do you smell? What do you smell? Back here. Hi. The day is already testing me. Get in there. Here is the new pump. Looks like a friggin' blow dryer. First off the motor is the serpentine belt, and then the alternator, followed by the battery tray, and the intake, which made me a little regretful. Huh. I didn't realize the whole air box would have to come out, but I wish I knew that beforehand, because now would sure be a good time to put in a cold air intake if I was gonna put one in, which I probably was at some point. Oh well. Once I dried my tears, we pulled out the intercooler pipe and sucked the old power steering fluid out of the pump using a fluid transfer pump. Then removed the lines going into the pump and drained those too. And with those lines removed, we could finally pull out what we came here for, the power steering pump and the bracket. All right, that was disgusting. I'm sweating like a freaking pig. Anyways, the power steering pump is out. Looks like a whole lot going on here. It's actually not terrible, but the pump is out. Please, Dad, if you're watching this, I am so sorry. Didn't realize there's still that much fluid left in the pump, so that when I took it out, just kind of, yeah. Now it was time to pull the pulley off the pump, which was something I'd never actually done before, interestingly enough. So I went and I got the pulley puller tool thingy from the parts store. And man, oh man, did I pull that pulley. That was easy enough, with a nice new tool like this. Next, we unbolted the pump from the bracket. Out with the old. It is the new. It's the same to me. And bolted it back onto the bracket. and put the pulley on the new pump all by ourselves. What felt like eternities later, it was now time to do everything in reverse, which meant bolting up our pump and bracket, reattaching the lines, wrestling with the intercooler tube, and on goes the alternator. All right, so we're almost finished with reassembly, I hope. Here's where we're at right now. Power steering pump is on. All the new, well, not new lines, but all the lines are going to it. Intercooler pipe is back on. Alternator's back on. Coolant hose is zip tied as it was. And what I'm worried about is the pulley being centered. This pulley down here, as you guys saw, that I had to put on myself. That was my first time doing that. And I'm hoping that I did it right, because if I didn't and the pulleys don't line up when the belt's on, I might cry. That's what it comes down to. So what I'm gonna do now is we actually can put the belt back on. So that's what we're gonna do in Moment of Truth. Yes, I needed my mommy's help with that because I couldn't quite pull the ratchet and get the, make sure the belt was completely on perfect. But anyways, it's on and it looks like we are right in line. I'm very, very happy and very surprised that I didn't bungle that. But now all we have left to do is install the airbox itself. Well, I'm sorry, the battery tray and then the airbox. And then we can put some fluid in this thing, start it up, and see how badly I messed it up. Next, we unfortunately put back on the stock airbox and the battery tray. And then we made a big freaking mess. All right, now time to fill this puppy up. And the interesting thing about this is these trucks don't take power steering fluid. They use automatic transmission fluid. And they also have a really finicky cap. What the hell? This one should suffice. Little tiny one, or I'd say that's more like average, personally. All right, we're using Mobile 1 synthetic ATF. That's what everyone on the 7.3 forum said to use, so pain to find. That smells weird. Okay, it's full. Now I think we have to jack up the truck and bleed it or something. Now, the observant viewer will note it is a different day. Yesterday we didn't fuck up, but we made a damn mess. All right, here's what happened. Let's get this thing open. No way I'm gonna be able to open it with one hand. Yeah. Ugh, super strength. Okay, so as I told you guys, after installing the new power steering pump, you're supposed to bleed the system. All the forums that I read said you had to do it. Everything online said that when you put in a pump, you have to bleed the system after. I didn't know you had to do that. But the funny thing is there were a bunch of random people, especially in the Powerstroke forums, who were like, nah, no you don't. You just drive it. It'll bleed itself. So I wanted to do it the right way. My steering was pretty screwed up beforehand, so I wanted it to finally, after all this work, to be working well. And so I did the procedure they said to bleed the system, which entails jacking the front of the truck up, turning the wheel lock to lock like 10 times or whatever, and keep rechecking the fluid and make sure that it stays full. So that's exactly what I did. I kept the reservoir completely topped up with fluid. I jacked the truck up. I turned the wheel with the engine off all the way to one side, and it puked the entire reservoir. It puked all of the fluid out, all of it. And I tried the little trick that someone said online about taking the reservoir cap off and putting a rubber glove or something over it, and that'll catch, you know, keep it from spewing everywhere. But mine had so much pressure that it blew the glove right off and got everything covered in fluid. It's still dripping 24 hours later, but it got everywhere. So I figured that there was just a lot of air in the system. And when I put the new pump in, you know, that was normal for it to just purge like that. So I topped the reservoir back up with fluid. I turned the wheel the other way to the lock, and it did it again. It emptied the entire reservoir again. And this time I was smart enough to take a rag and place it in a strategic location for it to absorb the fluid when it pukes it out. And it just missed that completely. And again, shot everywhere, including all over the driveway. So at this rate, I'm gonna have to sell every single one of my vehicles to pay for my dad's new driveway, because there is no lie, there's 2 quarts of automatic transmission fluid that should be in the truck that are now in the driveway. Yeah, I am not kidding. Not kidding at all. This one's only under here to catch the remnants because stuff is still dripping. So I did my best to continue. I would fill up the reservoir. I tried turning the wheel slower. Every time it got to the lock, it still ended up just puking its guts out and spewing the fluid everywhere. At this point, I was so angry, so frustrated that I was just letting it happen. I had cardboard and stuff, but that's now in a freaking biohazard dump somewhere because it's completely saturated with automatic transmission fluid. So I kept reading forums. A few guys said they had the same thing happen, and the people just said to keep going. And I was like, there's no way. This is the trick to this. At all. So finally, at this point, I'm down to my last quart of automatic transmission fluid. I've wasted $30 in automatic transmission fluid, and it's all just spewed on the ground. So I texted my uncle. He's been building hot rods for years and years, and I asked him what he thought I should do. And he said to just drive it. He said to put it on the ground, take for a drive, see what it is. It should self-bleed itself. It should self-bleed itself. It should bleed itself. And after all, that is what some people on the forum said. They said just drive it. It will just purge the air out on its own. And then that way, if it does spew fluid, maybe it'll do it on the road, not in my driveway. And at first, the pump did just groan and groan like a Ford pump usually does when it's low on fluid. And it just kept groaning, and I would fill it up, and then the groan would go away for a little bit, and then it would come back, and I was still losing fluid. But eventually, after driving it around enough, I think it bled itself. So now we can hop in here, fire this bad Larry up. And now, one finger, one finger will do it, and there's no groaning sound. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, that we solved it. We did it. And it's very nice now to have actually fully working power steering, especially when using the new, and it is brand new, thing that we got. It's not a vehicle. I don't know if you would consider it a vehicle. I don't think you would. But here it is. Say hello to the new addition to the garage, if you could call it that. It is pretty cool. Check this out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, say hello. This is something a little different for me. This is my new, and it is brand new, 2023 22-foot Rice car hauler. It's massive, is one way to put it. Thing is giant. So as you guys know, in case you didn't know, to help support the YouTube channel, especially in the last, it's got to be last 10 months or so, I've been buying, fixing up, and selling vehicles. I'm not a flipper. I don't just, lowball someone, buy it, and then just sell it right away after giving it a wash. No, it's 99% of the time it's Jeep Wranglers because I've had so many of them, and I fix up the necessary things that they need, and then I get rid of them. In this case, depending when this video comes out, it's sometimes that simple, and sometimes it's a little more complex, and I'm doing quite a bit of work to them. But I needed this because for the past, the past 10 months that I've been doing that, I've been using my uncle's car trailer. He has a beautiful, it's like a, 2004 or something, specialized car hauler. And then it got to the point, finally in the last 10 months, when I was using the trailer like 2-3 times a month, sometimes more. And he had no problem with it. It just became time that I should reinvest and buy my own equipment. And this is what I got. Again, it's a little bit bigger than the trailer that I was using. This one's a 22-foot, so it's a 20-foot deck with a 2-foot dovetail on it. And I believe the other trailer that I was using, my uncle's, was I think I measured it to be 16 with a 2-foot dove, or 18 with a 2-foot dove. I believe it was 16 with the 2-foot dove, so it was 18 feet overall. And this one is 22. It's giant. That's why I got the F350. so that I could put on a trailer and go get cars whenever I found them. I'm really wasn't well versed in the world of trailers. I did quite a bit of research, and this is what I ended up with, and I'm very, very happy. And shout out to Emily and Central New Hampshire Trailers for making the whole process extremely nice for a newbie like me, and for being so great to work with. They really hooked me up with this thing, and I'm excited to pull with it. I haven't put anything on it yet, but I will be soon. But for now, it's just cool to look at. I got a little toolbox up here that locks, where I can put straps and tools or anything. Just the other night, I went out and picked this up. It's a Fastway trailer flash heavy duty mount. I'll include a link for it down in the description below. But I needed something a bit more heavy duty than what I did have. Made in the USA. You know, it's you know, all LED lighting. It's got the spare tire mount up there. The bird poop on it did not cost me any extra, thank God. And then at the back, we have the pull-out ramps, which is a very nice touch, and it's made in the USA. Really nice looking trailer. I am gonna definitely have to treat this deck with something. I wanna protect it and keep it looking nice. Maybe protect it against the friggin' birds. My God, they did a number on this thing. But very happy, very excited to get using that. And it looks especially nice right behind the old 7.3 Powerstroke. What a setup. So that's pretty much why I got that power steering sorted out, so that when I'm backing this thing up, it's not such a pain. Granted, the power steering pump, as I just found out when I was going through the gas station, had to back up in a tight spot. It still gets a little hard towards the very ends, towards the locks. You know, maybe that's steering gear related, but it is a little bit better than it was before, and it needed to be done. So that's step one. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll include a link to all the products that I used down in the description below. The power steering pump, the automatic transmission fluid, which was kind of hard to find, the trailer hitch, and then a link to Central New Hampshire Trailers in case you want to get yourself a sexy little trailer like mine. Tell them I sent you. I'm gonna go drive around aimlessly with the trailer to look cool. See you guys next time. Happy motoring.